What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, I've been able to add to my Dark Knight roster here in the 1/6 collection. I've got Catwoman here with me, and I gotta say, I've got some takes here. This might actually be one of my most disappointing figures I've ever unboxed. So stick around, I'm going to tell you guys why. If you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
Oh, pardon me, but it's
Ben Thomas Showtime. Let's go.
So let's be honest, it almost goes without saying here, this is an absolutely stunning art box. Now, the disappointing part here is that when you slide the slipcover over the top, it's just a window box. There's nothing underneath in terms of artwork, but this is technically the 2.0 version of Catwoman from Hot Toys. We've seen the 1.0 before versus the 2.0, and now, of course, versus the actor likeness, and I think she's beautiful. They've done a great job here so far. Now, notoriously, I had the 1.0 years ago, and that figure peeled like crazy. Almost the entire external portion of the outfit sloughed off, leaving almost like a velvety material. It was weird, and it was really hard to resell that Catwoman back then. This figure, when it was announced that a 2.0 was coming, I was really excited because I thought maybe they would upgrade the materials, and I'm not 100% sure that they have. It honestly almost looks like the same material in hand. Now, the actor or actress likeness, I think, is superior to the first version, but when I first kind of get the plastic off here and pull her out of the clamshell, my first-hand impressions are, honestly, she's heavier than I expected. In fact, I actually think she's heavier than my Mars Toys Riddler was in hand, which is kind of funny. The thing that stands out to me right away is the sheen in the hair. Honestly, credit where credit is due. There's almost no loose flyaways like my original Catwoman had. But a big point of contention for me, and one of the reasons I said this amounts to one of the worst unboxings I've had experience-wise, is I absolutely hate the seam around the hairline. To me, it looks like she's wearing a Selena Kyle face mask and not actually a sculpt with any level of rooted hair. It's really friggin' ugly, and honestly, I'm gonna try and use the goggles to hide that seam, but they're meant to be propped up on the head like cat ears. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. And also, it's worth noting that the goggles are definitely really plasticky, very, very fragile. It's not something that can come off entirely, not without really messing with the figure or risking damaging both the paint applications on the face as well as the hairline or the hair itself. If you have the skill to paint around it potentially, if you damage paint, then maybe it would be worth the try, but honestly, I think she still looks good with the mask on. It's that hairline that I find completely unacceptable at this point. Now, I'm not a skilled rooter. I don't know how they would do it differently, but when I look at figures from InArt, even the Hot Toys Artisan line, to me this looks like a Barbie doll, and I really dislike that aspect of this figure so far. The other issue I have is it doesn't look like they've really upgraded this outfit at all. For a 2.0, it's definitely still that pleathery type material that's likely to flake, and it's really hard to pose.
Nice outfit. Those heels make it tough to walk.
I don't know. Do they? So where is it?
Where's what?
The program, the clean slate.
Especially with the heels on this figure. Now, it's not a Hot Toys design flaw here. The character's wearing heels. I'm used to mostly male characters that have flat boots. Even my female Bo-Katan figure had really flat, easy to pose boots. This is my first character other than Deadpool that came with a set of high heels, and she does not really want to stand up all that well. Now, the boots are all bunched up around the knees, which to me looks like a flaking nightmare just begging to happen. And so I'm really not going to bend these at all. They're going to stay mostly in museum pose. And I think that's one of the reasons I actually kind of feel slightly disappointed by this figure. It feels very museum posy. I don't feel like I can do a lot with it. The material in hand feels really beautiful. It just remains to be seen over the test of time how it'll actually last. Now, I also think it's really cool that they've given us a crushed Dark Knight cowl from that iconic scene with the fight with Bane. And it's interesting because I don't think Selina Kyle would ever actually get her hands on the cowl, but I like that they gave it in the display just as an accessory piece to go along with the big badass stand. I also appreciate the fact that they gave us a handgun here, but I gotta say, this is probably the most disappointed I've been in a handgun in a very long time for a figure. It's just basic plastic. They've done nothing cool with this. It doesn't move, it has no moving bits, there's no magazine that comes out, nothing at all. It's very, very, very basic. Now, one of the big reasons that I wanted the set was to see what this new base and kind of diorama setup would look like in hand. And it doesn't disappoint. It is beautiful. I love the water display that I have here that goes kind of under the base, kind of simulating that scene with the fighting with Bane and Batman, and you get a chance to kind of hear the water running in the background. It's pretty cool, and they did it well. I do think it looks really good, and the materials that they've used here for things like the handrails are basically just plastic, but they've done a really, really good job of painting it to look like really friggin' rusted metal. And honestly, it does the trick, especially to the eye when you plug it into the base and everything and kind of set it up. It looks really, really cool. Now, the set also comes with chains, and the chains do have a coldness to them. They do feel like metal chain. Whether that's considered die cast or not, I'm not 100% sure, but I would say because they feel like metallic chain, it does feel a little bit more premium, and they get kind of weighted well when you set up the display here, and I'll show you guys that in a moment. The material that they've used for the backdrop, I'm also really impressed with this time. I was truly expecting it to be just straight up cardboard. You can't bend it at all. It's extremely firm, which means that it won't warp in behind the display, and I think that looks really, really cool. I did at first have a bit of a hard time clicking the base in, so I did use the instructions here, and feel free to, pause the instructions here wherever you need to, if you've lost yours or you're, too lazy to pull yours out of the box. But when it's set up, it does look really badass, honestly. Now, will I actually use it in the display? Ooh, probably not. The one criticism I have with this base is that it's too tall. So unless you get the Bane 2.0 that they've announced, that's going to come with a similar stand and you can maybe pair these together, it looks odd next to other figures that are sitting or standing directly on the surface of my cabinets. It's just too high, so I probably won't actually use it. But once I have the Catwoman displayed with my Dark Knight figure, keep in mind my Dark Knight is a DX12, so it's kind of one of the shorter past generations of bodies. If you have the DX19 or newer versions coming, then I think Batman here will scale much better with Catwoman and be quite a bit taller than she is, and I think that will look great in the display. Overall though, I have to say I'm not super happy with this overall release. I'm happy to have Catwoman in the display, but unless you don't have a Catwoman, or maybe she's one of your favorite characters from the film, maybe it's going to be the figure that completes your Dark Knight lineup, I'm actually having a hard time recommending this figure. It's not that it's bad. I would probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a terrible figure by any stretch, but the hairline really bothers me. I will say I'm disappointed that they didn't upgrade the materials truly on the suit, and I'd be curious to see how quickly that'll fail over time. And as cool as the base is, it's a little too tall and I probably won't use it unless I get the 2.0 Bane. But then I suffer this issue of I also then need to upgrade my Batman, which is a whole other issue. Obviously the scale of these figures is changing quite often, and Catwoman is now almost as tall as my Batman, which you saw, so it's a little strange. So I'm happy to have her, but on the other hand, I felt a little bit let down by this particular unboxing, but I would be curious to hear what your thoughts are, especially if you guys have had the 1.0 like I did all those years ago. Have you felt like there's much of a difference? Are you okay with the kind of Barbie style hair, or do you wish they'd given this the artisan treatment where they actually rooted it as opposed to just gluing hair on to a sculpt? I honestly think I might have preferred a sculpted version, which is wild. It's not something that I thought that I'd be saying to you guys today, especially since I've had another figure added to my Dark Knight display. But at the end of the day, I'm also starting to feel a little bit fatigued with collecting the Dark Knight line. There are still so many other characters out there that are awesome that I can't wait to collect. Bane will probably be my last one, but who knows? Maybe they'll give us a Scarecrow, maybe they'll go back down that route again. Who truly knows? But guys, I hope you liked the video today. Let me know your comments and your thoughts on this figure in the comments down below. But if you liked the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.